All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at notes 8.4, which start on page 7. Let's take a look at what it says in question number 1. Please make sure you are actively thinking as you are going through this example so you know what each variable means and what each equation means to help you out. So in number 1, it talks about Brittany and Dina. Brittany and Dina each have a bank account. Brittany starts with a certain amount of money and adds money at regular intervals, okay? Dina starts with a different amount of money and takes money out over time. The amount of money, Y dollars, in Dina's coin bank after X weeks is given by this equation right here. The graph below shows the amount of money in Brittany's coin bank after X weeks. So this is Dina's coin bank, and then we've got our graph for Brittany's coin bank. Now let's make sense of Dina's coin bank. Dina's coin bank is y equals negative 30x plus 120. So this 120 is your y-intercept. It's your starting amount. So she starts with $120. There's no way that you can do this problem unless you understand what the equation is saying. She starts with $120 and then she takes out, because this is negative, $30 per week. So she takes out $30 every week. And don't forget, a slope always has two variables. So $30, here's your first variable for every 1 week. There's your second variable. So now let's go ahead and see what's going on with Brittany's coin bank. So question A says, find the y-intercept of Brittany's graph and explain what information it gives about the situation. So if I look at Brittany's graph, the y-intercept is where it starts. It's $20. So the y-intercept is $20, and it tells us that Brittany started with $20 in her account. Okay, so question B says, find the slope of Brittany's graph and explain what information it gives about the situation. Well, to find the slope, you need to pick a starting point and an ending point. It's up to you. You can use the 2 dots that I gave you here. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do it. So the starting amount, or to find the slope, I would do rise over run. So M equals rise over run. However, a lot of us will look at the rise and think that this is 1, but it went from 60 to 80. So the rise is not 1, the rise is $20, because to go from 60 to 80, you got to add $20. And then the run went from 2 to 3. So the run is 1. So the slope is $20 per week, $20 every week. Let's try this with a different set of points. So let's do our starting and our ending points and see what happens. So here's our starting point in our graph, and here is our ending point. So let's do the rise and the run. So rise over run for this example right here, it should still give us the same answer because it has a constant rate of change. So it went from 20 to 120. So that went up by $100. Okay, and then it went over from 0 to 5, so it took 5 weeks to get $100. When you divide 100 by 5, you still get $20 per week. So what information does it give us about this situation? We can say Brittany adds $20 every week into her account. So part C says, what is Brittany's equation? Well, we need 2 things. We need the M, which we figured out is $20 per week, and we need the B, which we also figured out is $20 because that's where she started off at. It's just a coincidence that they both started out, they both are 20. It won't always be that way. So y equals 20x plus 20. All right. So now question C, first of all, sorry, there's a couple typos. This should say, is Brittany adding money at a faster rate, or is Dina taking money out at a faster rate? So let's look and see. We are going to look and see our information about Dina versus Brittany. We know that Brittany is adding $20 every week, and we know that Dina is taking out $30 every week. So taking out $30 a week is faster than adding $20 every week. So we can say for this question right here that Dina is taking money out at a faster rate because her slope, right, because her slope tells us the rate is steeper than Brittany's slope. Okay? And then lastly, question E. After how many weeks will they have the same amount of money in their bank account? I'm going to show you two ways to do this. And this is review from our system of equations unit. So the first way that we can do this is to look and see what our equation is for Brittany, and then graph it against, our equation for Dina, and then graph that against Brittany's equation. So we know that Dina is starting off with $120 in her bank account. So I can start my graph at $120 right here for Dina. And we know that she loses $30 every week. So if on week 0 she has $120, if you subtract 30 from that, you get $90. So after 1 week, she will have $90, okay? And then subtract another 30 from that, after 2 weeks, she'll have $60, okay? And then subtract another 30 from that, after 3 weeks, she'll have $30, and then after 4 weeks, she will have no money at all in her account. So this is what her graph looks like. So we've got Brittany's graph versus Dina's graph, and they have the same amount of money when our two graphs will intersect with each other. So that means that they have the same amount of money after, right here, if you look at this, after 2 weeks. So our answer to this question for E is 2 weeks. However, we can also do this algebraically. So if you remember, our equation for Dina was y equals negative 30x plus 120. And then our equation for Brittany was y equals 20x plus 20. So now in order to figure out when they're going to be the same as each other, all I have to do is set this equal to this because I want to know when they are equal to each other. So all I have to do is say negative 30x plus 120 is equal to 20x plus 20. And then I just have to solve. So let's add 30x to both sides to get rid of the x's on one side. And then I end up getting 120 equals 50x plus 20. And then I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. And then I end up getting 100 equals 50x. Lastly, all I have to do is divide by 50, and then I end up getting x equals 2. So that's another way that you can get the answer of 2 weeks. All right, so let's look at question number 2. Which function has a greater rate of change? Basically, it's just asking which function has a bigger slope. That's what our rate of change is. So let's look at our first example right here. We're going to find a rate of change in our table. And there's two ways that we can do it. We can do delta y over delta x, or we could do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we're going to do both ways, okay? So if I were to figure out the delta y, this is going up by 8, okay? So 8 over, and this is going up by 2. So I can say that it's 8 over 2, which is equal to 4, all right? Or I could do the next one and see how much this is going up by. This is going up by 4, this is going up by 1. So in this example, my delta y is 4, my delta x is 1. 4 divided by 4 4 divided by 1 is 4, all right? And let's look at our last example. In our last example right here, this is going up by 8, this is going up by 2, so it ends up being the same thing, 8 over 2, which is 4. So our rate of change here is 4. But let's do this using the slope formula so you can see how that works as well. You can use whatever two coordinates that you want. I'm going to use just basically the first two coordinates. So my first coordinate is 1, 5, and my second coordinate is 3, 13. And all I can do is just plug it into the formula. So I would say 13 minus 5 over 3 minus 1. That's how you get this 8 right here. 13 minus 5 is 8, and then 3 minus 1 is 2. That's how we get this 2 right here. So our rate of change here is 4. Okay? So now I need to figure out, does this one have a greater rate of change, the table? Is that the one that's going to have the greater rate of change, or is my equation right here going to be the one with the greater rate of change? I'm not sure yet. So let's go ahead and get the y by itself, because in order for me to figure out what the rate of change is, I have to get it in y equals mx plus b format. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides, and I end up getting 2y equals 4x plus 2. Then when I divide everything by 2, I end up getting y equals 2x plus 1. So in this example, our m value is equal to 1, and here our our m value right here is equal to 2. And then in this example, our m value is equal to 4, so we would say the table has a greater rate of change. All right, so now let's take a look at what it says in question number 3. The functions below represent stock prices each week, where W is the number of weeks. So here is W, the number of weeks, and C is the cost. So here's our dependent variable, or Y, and here's our independent variable, or X. Okay? Order the stock prices from least to greatest based on the rate of change. So I'm going to find which one has the greatest rate of change. So the alpha stock says that the starting price of $54 decreases weekly by $2.50. So I need to figure out what the M is, what's the B. Well, I know that it starts at $54, so that's my M. And I know that it's decreasing by $2.50 per week. So $2.50 per week. There are my 2 units again, dollars per week. But it's decreasing, so this should be negative. So that means that my equation for alpha is y equals negative 2.5x plus 54, which means that my slope, my rate of change, is negative $2.5 per week, right? Which we already indicated over here when we first did our problem, okay? All right, so now for beta, what I need to do is I need to, first of all, there's a typo. This should say 9w plus 2c, okay? So make sure you say 9w plus 2c, fix that typo. So for beta, the only thing that I need to do is get my y by itself. In this example, our y is c. So I'm going to subtract 9w from both sides, and I end up getting 2c equals 54 minus 9w. And then I need to divide everything by 2 to get the c by itself. And when I divide everything by 2, I end up getting c equals 27 minus 4.5w. So that means that I'm going down $4.50 every week, okay? And that the y-intercept is $27. It starts at 27, but this right here is my slope right here, okay? And now let's figure out delta. Delta, let's figure out the B to begin with. It starts off with $24, so that's nice and easy. I can tell you that the B is $24. Now I need to figure out what is the slope, what's the rate of change. So this right here, this is going down by 7, this is going down by 7, this is going down by 7, this is going up by 2, right? And we need to know that this is $7 because this is cost, and this is 2 weeks because W stands for weeks, right? So remember, we do delta Y over delta X, and each delta Y is -7. So we're going to say -$7 over each delta X is 2, and it's 2 weeks. So that means that our slope for this problem is -$3.50 per week. And then it says to order the stocks from least to greatest based on their rate of change. So which one of these numbers right here has the smallest rate of change? And right here, the smallest rate of change is $2.50 per week. So that means that alpha has the smallest rate of change because it's only losing $2.50 a week, while the other two are losing $3.50 a week and $4.50 a week. So alpha is our lowest rate of change, okay? And then the one that changes the most after that, or the least after that, is delta with $3.50 per week. And then the one that changes the most out of all of them is beta. Okay?